Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into this story about immigration, politics, and this one man who really, took a stand. We're going to hear from Willy Bastidas, a Venezuelan asylum seeker who, get this, took his message straight to a Donald Trump rally.
It's an incredible example of how, just one person's story can challenge these huge, powerful narratives. And the setting here, Aurora, Colorado, makes it even more fascinating.
Right, so, what's the scene in Aurora? What makes this story so interesting?
So Aurora's become a kind of haven for Venezuelans. Think about a city with this huge Spanish-speaking community, something like 40,000 Venezuelans, all finding refuge, building these new lives in the Denver area. That's the backdrop here.
Wow. And we're really zeroing in on this recent article, right, by Michael Daly. He really sets the scene at this Trump rally, big crowd, security everywhere. But what really gets me is what Trump's saying about Venezuelan migrants.
Yeah, Daly describes how Trump uses this incident, this thing, with a small Venezuelan gang called Tren de Aragua, and he kind of blows it up, right? Uses it to paint this picture of all Venezuelan migrants as dangerous.
So it's like he's taking this one example, this small group, and using it to, tap into a bigger fear.
Exactly. And to be fair, the article does say that even Aurora's own mayor, Mike Kaufman, he acknowledged the gang but pushed back against that whole generalization thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Kaufman even called out the apartment complex where this gang was, said they were using them as a scapegoat, basically.
Trying to deflect responsibility. So we've got this tense situation, then Trump shows up, has this rally. That's where Willy Bastidas comes in, right?
Yeah, Willy Bastidas, he's a 30-year-old asylum seeker, came to Aurora in 2022, just wants a peaceful life like so many others. Daly really emphasizes how much this guy loves Aurora, calls it home, the people his family. He even talks about how certain he is about staying there, working as a mechanic, really being part of the community.
And yet, he goes to a Trump rally, knowing what Trump thinks about immigration. What would make him do that?
Daly says he felt he had to see it for himself, hear what Trump was saying firsthand, maybe even trying to talk to people, people who actually believe those things.
So he's there at the rally, surrounded by, I'm guessing, a lot of people who don't share his views.
Yeah, and according to Daly, Trump actually brings out these blown up photos of the gang members who were arrested.
Oh, wow.
He's trying to really hammer home this one image of Venezuelan migrants,
And Bastidas is just there, taking it all in. Did he have, a plan? Did he know what he's going to do?
Well, he brought something with him. Daly describes it as this, folded up paper booklet at first, but he bides his time, listens as Trump gets on stage, and starts in on his whole thing.
I bet.
Daly even quotes some of it, like Trump talking about Kamala Harris importing criminals, directly calling out Aurora, even saying that if he's reelected, he'd start this nationwide deportation effort called Operation Aurora.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty intense.
To be in that room, hearing that, it must have taken a lot for Bastidas to stay.
And remember, for him, this is personal, right? This is his home, his people being targeted.
Oh, absolutely.
Daly describes this moment. Bastidas sees the TV cameras. They're panning over the crowd, just showing Trump's supporters. And that's when he decides to act.
He decides to show what's on that poster.
Yeah, and it's so simple but so powerful. We are migrants. We are not criminals. Why does Trump hate us?
Wow. That's something else. It's more than a statement. It's like he's putting it back on him,
Right, it cuts through all the noise and makes you deal with the human side of this.
So I'm guessing the TV cameras weren't too keen on broadcasting that.
Nope. Security swoops in, takes the poster, escorts Bastidas right out. Daly mentions that others who tried to show signs were removed too.
It makes you wonder how many other stories, other sides to this we just don't hear,
That's such an important point, and it makes you think about, who gets to decide what we hear, what stories get told. It's not just about who's got the microphone,
right,
but who's controlling the whole narrative.
Exactly. It makes you think about all those people who can't speak up or don't feel safe to. Their stories just disappear.
It's true. But even though they kicked him out, Bastidas still made his voice heard, at least for a little bit.
Even if it was just a moment. So what was he thinking about afterward? He's out of there, poster's gone, but he made an impact. What did Bastidas say about that whole thing afterward?
It's really interesting, actually. Daly shares some of his reflections, and he talks about how, to him, a lot of those Trump supporters seemed, caught up in the moment. Maybe not really getting the whole picture in Aurora.
Not just disagreeing, but, not even open to hearing a different side.
That's it. And this is where I think it becomes bigger than just immigration.
Right,
It's
yeah.
about the danger of this kind of rhetoric, when politicians demonize a whole group of people based on these really distorted, inaccurate ideas.
And how easily people buy into that,
Yeah.
especially when it already fits with what they think.
Absolutely. It's like that us versus them thing. It's powerful, but it prevents us from actually talking to each other.
From finding common ground, which feels more important now than ever.
Totally. Bastidas' story reminds us there are real people behind all these political slogans. We have a responsibility to look beyond that, to want to see different perspectives.
It's on all of us.
Right. And it can start small. Being more careful about what we read, what we share online especially.
Fact-checking before you retweet. Or having those tough conversations with friends, family, who might be, holding on to some of those stereotypes.
It's about being engaged citizens, not just when we vote, but all the time.
Think about it. Bastidas could have just stayed quiet. It would have been easier, less risky.
Oh, for sure.
But what do you think this says about speaking up, even when it's hard?
To me, it shows that even one person can challenge these big, powerful narratives. He didn't let the size of the rally or the security or anything stop him. He knew he had to say his piece.
He was willing to put himself out there for what he believed in.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
It really is. It reminds us that we all have a part to play in fighting misinformation, prejudice, lifting up those voices that don't get heard enough.
It's like a call to action,
Sure.
to be more informed, more engaged, more open to others. If anyone listening felt that, hearing about what Bastidas did at that rally, if it meant something to you, don't let it end there, Riot.
Exactly.
Talk about it, share your thoughts, because even one voice can make a difference.
It can spark something, get a conversation going, maybe even inspire someone else to do the same.
That's the power of one story, one act of courage. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll be back next time, diving into another topic that matters.